Hello everyone. So today in this class we are going to discuss the first and the foremost and one of the most important topics in entire modern history of India. So in this topic we are going to discuss the advent or the entry of Europeans. We all know one thing. India got independence from Britishers. Britishers have ruled us for about 200 odd years. So, how this happened in India? Because if you see roughly on a broad timeline, the history of India, Delhi Sultanate had a glorifying history. Of course, there are few black marks in the history of Delhi Sultanate, but after the Delhi Sultanate or the Delhi Sultanate, we have the great Mughals, and we discuss only from Babar to Aurangzeb in a broader perspective, and we always tend to ignore the later Mughals, who are even more in number when compared to the regular Mughals who we discuss as mighty Mughals from Babar to Aurangzeb. So, when there was a strong empire in India, how could these Europeans come to India, establish their rule, and become lords directly for us? That's the big question, and that's the point of discussion in our class. So, what are the factors which promulgated or which provoked? The best word here we can use is provoked the Europeans that they can come to India and they can do few things. Did it happen overnight? Did it happen in a small time frame? No. From 1400s till 1700s. To be more precise, from 1453 to 1757 or 1764, we have a very broad time frame where the Europeans came here. Some of them, they struggled very hard for their survival in India. Some survived very well. Some survived only for few years and then they packed the things and ran away. Then they fought here itself in India. European forces, they fought in India. They struggled for their supremacy, and such lot of things have happened in the 15th century, starting from 15th century to 18th century. So the chapter Advent of Europeans is such an important chapter which changed the culture of India. Let's say, for example, the utilization of potato, red chili, and many such things were actually unknown to Indians before they were brought by Europeans in India. So, let's start this chapter with a discussion on what were the scenario or what was the scenario in Europe which forced the Europeans to come to India. And whenever we learn about this advent of Europeans, the first person who come to our mind is Vasco da Gama. But what was the situation before Vasco da Gama? Let's start our chapter with that topic. So, the Europe in 15th century. The first and the foremost important point in this chapter is in the year 1453, Turks captured Constantinople. There is a place called Constantinople in Turkey. That place was captured by the Ottoman Turks, who are commonly called as Turks. Now, what is the importance of that particular place? If you see this area, if you see this area, in this area is the joint where exactly the people of Asia as well as, sorry, I have marked it a little away. This is the place where the people of Asia and Europe interacted with each other, more particularly the Arabs and the Europeans. They interacted with each other. The products from India, China, and other eastern countries like Indonesia, which were then called as Spice Islands, they all were actually purchased by Arab merchants. Those Arab merchants used to carry them from various places to Europe via this route. So, when Turks captured this place, which is the Constantinople, what happened? The link with Europe and Asia got cut. Because of this, at that particular time in Europe, there was a very heavy demand for Indian spices. Because during the winters, the climate of Europe used to be so harsh that they have to survive on meat for months together. In order to make the meat edible and have long storage life, they used to add a lot of spices like pepper. And that is the reason why the spices of India are much in demand in Europe. But what happened here? Turks captured the Constantinople. Because of that, Europe and Asia, the trade links were cut off. And at the same time, because of this agitation or this attack, the rate of the spices, the price of the spices shoot in rocket speeds. Because of that, now the Europeans thought of discovering a route which is independent of the Arabs. So that's why what happened? There was a very long hunt of the Europes or the Europeans to discover a sea route which is independent of the Turks. You can see here the Ottoman Empire. In this Ottoman Empire, if people of Greece or Italy or France or Spain or Portugal or even England, if all these people they want to come to India, they have to completely circumscribe our African continent and come to India, because this is the key place which was blocked by, who is that? People who blocked the Ottoman Turks. So that's why there was a treaty signed in 1494 which is called the Treaty of Tordesillas. In this Treaty of Tordesillas, the Portugal and Spain rulers have divided the non-Christian world. What do you mean by the non-Christian world? The non-European world. At that time, people used to divide the world only on the basis of religion, where there is a influence of Christianity. That area is called Christian world, and the remaining world is called non-Christian world. So they drew an imaginary line in the Atlantic. So to left of this, that means towards the west of this line, whatever place is there, that is to be ruled by Spain, and whatever space is between this entire space, it is to be ruled by Portugal. So Spain and Portugal have completely divided the world into two areas as per their requirement. So because of this, the first Europeans who tried establishing their rule in India were Portugals. Also, we never hear Spain trying to invade India or trying to do trade with India because of this treaty only. We always hear Portugal because of that. So, Portuguese. Whenever we discuss about the Portuguese, the first credit should be given to Prince Henry the Navigator. He is actually the first person who emphasized a lot to discover new routes, to build a strong navy, to build a strong navigation system, and to strengthen trade routes via sea. With the help of Prince Henry, the later people of Portuguese also emphasized more on this, and that's why the first person who tried to come towards India was Bartholomew Dias. He can also be spelled as Bartolomé Dias, but in general it is spelled as Bartholomew Dias. This Bartholomew Dias became the first person to cross Atlantic Ocean via sea. He started from Lisbon in Portugal. You can see here is Lisbon, and from here he circumscribed the entire half of the western half of the Africa, and finally reached a place which he named it as the Cape of Storms, which is the southernmost tip of Africa. So when he reached this Cape of Storms, why did he name it as Cape of Storms? Because there were lot of geographical hurdles for him. There were lot of storms. The sea is completely unknown to him. How does the sea behave? Nothing is known to him. So that's why he named it as Cape of Storms, but later it was renamed as Cape of Good Hope. What do you mean by that? The good times or the best times are ahead if you cross that cape. And as his ships were not capable of tolerating such big storms of Indian Ocean, he used all his knowledge in the shipbuilding, and with which he has constructed few new ships which was later used by Vasco da Gama to find a sea route and to go on an expedition in finding sea route to India. So Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama was the first European citizen to reach India via sea. You can also call him the first Portuguese citizen to reach India, but he is the first person in the world or from the Europe, because at that time the history was dominated by the Europeans. You can call it as the first person in the world or the first European to come to India via all sea route. These words are important. All sea route. So, the first Portuguese citizen to reach India via all sea route is Vasco da Gama. And he had a journey of 90 days and he reached India on 21st of May 1498 AD. In the year 1498, on 21st May, he reached Indian coast at a place called Calicut or Kallikota. This place is named as Calicut. And he too did not know how to or in which direction he has to go in Indian Ocean. So he hired a pilot. In some books it is written he is a Gujarati pilot. In others it is written as a Arab pilot. But wherever his place might be, his name is Abdul Majid or Abdul Manid. This Abdul Majid or Abdul Manid is the Gujarati pilot who escorted or who showed the sea route of India to Vasco da Gama. Vasco da Gama was received very well by the local ruler of Calicut, whose name is Manna Vikrama. Very important, my dear friends, because in many books it is written the name of the ruler who received our Vasco da Gama is Zamorin, but as we call a king Raja in many Indian languages, in a similar way, the local king of Calicut was given the title Zamorin. So Zamorin is the position of a ruler. Zamorin means a ruler. So a ruler whose name is Manna Vikrama was the Zamorin of Calicut at that particular point of time. He came to India. Vasco da Gama was received by this ruler Manna Vikrama. And he was treated very well for many days. He enjoyed the privileges, and when he was going back, he was gifted with a lot of presents as well as valuable spices, which Vasco da Gama sold in his native country Europe, where he got 60 times the cost of his voyage. Let's say his voyage costed him some 1 lakh. At that time, whatever might be the currency, euros or rupees or whatever it might be, he earned 60 times that, which means his expenses from Lisbon to India, Calicut, and from he returned from a place called Goa. So he reached Calicut, he returned from Goa. From Goa to Lisbon, whatever might be the expenses, 60 times of that expenses is what the profit which was earned by Vasco da Gama with this one sea route. What happened after that? What was the effect of this? How Europe reacted to this? All this we will discuss later.